12.1 is bigger than we thought. It's huge. That's right. Curse of Oltec bringing tons of new features, new stuff to get into, new season, new isle, new bosses, new world boss content, all kinds of other things. Let's dive straight in here and see if there's anything we've missed so far for 12.1. Here we go.
This just in. New patch, new raid, new dungeon, new snack. So much snack left and right that we are trading the void blue for the poison green in an attempt to pretend Xal'atath hasn't just dug deep into Azeroth to mess with our girl. But let's
It's actually interesting. This patch really doesn't have much to do with Xal'atath. I don't know if they're going to tie her in like on the back end, like, oh, actually, I needed this fang, you know, for my love toy in my room or something. I have no idea what they're going to do with Xal'atath. There is a side story going on. It almost feels like a side story with Eretor and Xal'atath and everything else that's going to drop with this patch. That's going to come out not at the launch, but midway through the patch cycle. But with the instance itself, it's just an Amani Troll storyline, right? And all that, Zul'Jan and everything, and his chasing of the power and all that stuff. It's actually outside of the Midnight storyline, this patch. It's going to be a little break from the voidy shit and everything, which is kind of nice.
Take a break from all of that and talk about the Curse of Ulatek, Season 2 Dungeon Pool, and everything else coming in 12.1.
Okay, the campaign in the zone.
Where is the story and general campaign going to take us? Well, assuming 12.0.7 just started with its own campaign continuation being gated, bold, Blizzard, very bold. We assume not everyone is up to date with Zul'Jan's story, so we will keep this as spoiler-free as we can. The players will still follow Zul'Jan in the spooky and ominous island that we have been seeing off the coast of Zul'Aman for a while.
Here's what you need to know about Zul'Jan. No spoilers. Guy is an Amani troll who looks back on the old days of the Amani trolls and how tough they were and how proud they were. And now he thinks they're a shell of their former selves, so he's like, we got to become powerful again. I need to get us more powerful. Let's go get some crazy Loa power from this snake Loa. Okay, there you go. That's the perfect summary. That's all you need to know.
While now, and it's called Coiled Isle, which looks like this on the map. Zul'Jan is in search of a weapon to help his people and not rely on the Loa like his sister did. His journey will be a super unpredictable one for a character that seems to have more nuance and personality than the entirety of the Amani faction combined. But if you for a second thought we will end up with an actual interesting NPC in the game, don't you worry. The patch comes with a new dungeon called Altar of Fangs that takes us through Zul'Jan's never-imagined and predicted journey as a dungeon boss. Because killing him in the dungeon isn't enough, we will also follow Zul'Jan again in the new raid. The venomous...
We'll see if we kill him. I don't think we're going to. I think he's going to get some kind of redemption thing or something. I actually don't think. Because he's already had moments where, like, he's not, question, is he evil? He's not really evil. He's just trying to, become more powerful, make his people more powerful again. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to kill him personally, but he is a dungeon or raid boss.
Abyss, where in his attempt not to rely on Aloha, he relies on Aloha and becomes Snake Man Zul'Jan, a raid boss. Outside the disappointing yet painfully predictable Zul'Jan arc, the theme of the patch is actually a welcome one.
He's dead.
It sounds like a meme, but changing the color palette from the light yellow and void blue into green is... Nope, it still sounds like a meme. The zone gives massive troll vibes, something akin to Swamp of Sorrows, but also expanding on what we have come to expect from troll-themed content. Also, despite the obvious...
Man, I was just thinking though, like Unholy DKs and like Warlocks, like Destro Warlocks or something, I mean, half of your spells are just gonna blend in with the fucking ground and everything. You ain't gonna be able to see shit. It's just all green poison everywhere, and then your fell green stuff and your unholy green shit's just not gonna show up very well. Affliction Warlocks, yeah. You're kind of screwed.
Also, despite the obvious shift from chasing the obviously ominous Xal'atath and her Void Army, Eretor will still have a questline with Umbric keeping them on her tail, likely finding clues or the actual power couple Turalyon and Illyria. A plethora of outdoor activities are also present to partake in, with a talent tree system board thing to empower us in the Coiled Isle. We just woke up and recorded this video and don't have too much footage on things just yet, but make sure to catch our streams on twitch.tv/MarcellinandFlame,
Yes.
where I will be sinking my teeth into the sweet, poisonous content of 12.1.
All right, raids.
We of course mentioned the new raid called the Venomous Abyss, themed around the end of Zul'Jan's story, where he, most likely, unintentionally, frees or sets Ulatek, the final boss, upon the world.
Yeah,
Although
shocker.
we memed about Zul'Jan being a raid boss and a dungeon boss, we are not really sure what the end of his story will be, since raid testing hasn't happened yet. He could still live. And at this point, we're betting on it just as much as the Amani becoming a playable race is likely
I think there's a chance he doesn't die. I do. I think there's a chance he doesn't die.
to happen. Obviously, we still know there will be another raid in 12.1.5 from the roadmap that we received at the beginning
We know via the text he's dead. Really? Oh, I don't know. Damn, really? That's crazy. Another male character bites the dust, boys.
of 2026. What the raid is, who we will be fighting, remains to be seen, possibly announced at BlizzCon this year. The cooler part about 12.1 raiding comes in the form of a new style of content called layers. They actually took Sporefall and World Tiers and made them into an encounter. This will be the new world boss of the season, and it will be in kind of like a Delve scenario, where a raid will walk through the portal and...
By the way, interesting, the first world boss in this patch is a Naga. Hey, maybe we're going to get some more Naga shit in here. You never know. You never know. Queen Azara finally making an appearance. Who knows? We had the uniting of the elves. Technically, they're elves. They didn't unite with anybody. I don't know. What's going on here?
select the difficulty on which they want to tackle this new boss. The mythic version will also be flex, similar to Rotmire. First of all, this is the first world boss with difficulty tiers, meaning it has more than one tier of loot.
Right.
Second, this is the first world boss with mythic difficulty tier and gear, period. And you might think the second part and the first part are one and the same, but you would be wrong.
I said this earlier, I mean, how cool this is going to be. I think this is cool from Blizzard, but how cool it's going to be is really dependent on what the loot's going to be from this thing. If it's loot that's actually viable and it matters for more than just the first week of the season, then this will be cool. If it's not, then it's like, okay, well, you move the world bosses out of the way, I guess.
Another death.
Mally, thank you for gifting a sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. So you've gifted 2 subs to the stream. Thank you so much. Hotsitude, congrats on your sub.
Same, but you would be wrong. Mythic difficulty content has stood apart from the rest as the pinnacle of end game with the undisputed best rewards. Although the discussion surrounding myth gear becoming more and more accessible, period, is still pending, players having varied content to tackle from new angles is definitely something that World of Warcraft needs more of.
Yes. Nice. Okay, Season 2, patch 12.1.
Of course, we will have new delves that will be added to the pool in Season 2 as far as Bountiful Delves, Myth Quest Farming, and Nemesis are concerned. Existing delves will also adapt to the new theme of the patch and have snack enemies and poison mechanics all over the place. More importantly, the dungeon pool has been released. We, of course, have the 4 Midnight Dungeons that have yet to become Mythic Plus. Murder Row, Den of Nalorak, Blinding Veil, and Voidscar Arena will become playable, likely changed a bit from their normal mythic mechanics. The new dungeon, Altar of Fangs, will also be part of the dungeon pool, with only 3 legacy dungeon making a return. King's Rest will be a part of it.
Why did they pick King's Rest, man? I think they just want to fucking piss people off sometimes. Like, oh, which one should we pick? Remember that King's Rest when everyone hated the shit that pulls in that dungeon? Yeah, let's make that one of them. Now, to be fair, like I said before, when everyone was losing their minds, I told you guys, they're going to change the mob density and how the pulls work. They did that with everything else since post-add-on world, so they'll fix it. It's just like, why?
This one makes sense because the patch
King's Rest wasn't bad? I don't know. I think a lot of people didn't like King's Rest.
is very heavily troll themed, and King's Rest hasn't been seen since BFA. Ruby Life Pools is also back, and this one makes no sense because why the fuck? Lastly, Temple of Sethrolis comes back, and this one makes sense because
this one's good.
Snake. No, it's not the same type of snakes, and no, the Sethrak are not really bad snakes.
They're not, but the Sethrak makes sense to me. It does. Hey, snakes. Okay, fine. I get it. Yeah, the Ruby life pools I don't understand at all. Why are we going back there? I have no idea.
snakes, but just another desert people. And no, they have no actual ties with the Amani or their Loa or Zul'Jan or
Yeah, it's actually snakeism, if you think about it, because we're just assuming that all snakes are the same, right? Like all you snakes are the same, right? Snake people, yeah, snakes, Loa snakes, you guys are snakes. All of you snakes are the same, right? And they're like, no, we're actually from two different parts of the world. We're completely unrelated to each other. We just happen to be snakeanoids or whatever. Like, nah, come on. I can't even tell you guys apart. All you snakes are the same.
midnight, but rather because they have scales, split reptile eyes, they hiss and spit poison, and really, that's all the flavor connection depth that we have been accustomed to, so not sure why you are complaining. Oh? You're complaining because the dungeon itself is shit? Wait, all 3 dungeons have been historically the most despised dungeons in their respective seasons due to their general design? Well, that's because the WoW developers absolutely hate you. I'm kidding. Personally,
I do have to say, Ruby Life Pools was fine to me. I just hated the lava boulders because I don't know why people just couldn't dodge them for the life of them. So they always got hit with the lava boulders and they get one-shotted by that shit.
both King's Rest and Temple of Sethralus for their vibe. But what you will be interested in is in the fact that they will be almost nothing like the original release versions. We had Shadowlands dungeons and BFA dungeons in the Mythic Plus pool before, with almost all the pain points about them addressed and reworked. It is only fair to assume those will be reworked for this season as well, because the team has built reliability over the years, with Zul'Jan being the most reliable and predictable raid boss character that we have ever seen within 10 seconds of meeting him. Yes, I'm still upset about that, but I have learned to let it go, since good story and vibes are also elements the WoW team has let go of in favor of Snick. An actual major update comes in the form of cooldown manager changes that bleed into raid frames and party frames. Trinkets and general items will have their own category to be tracked among the list of spells and buffs constantly being iterated upon, so we can actually build a UI for ourselves.
It's good.
Better yet, healers will be able to choose what heals their frames can track within group content. This addresses one major...
Didn't we just watch this? No, but we got more, it's 12.1 content. So, of course, there's a little bit of overlap. They're talking about some of the same features. And yeah, this is a big one, especially for healers.
criticism we recently had with Midnight, so it's nice to see it being approached in 12.1. Part and parcel with the UI changes, we have housing blueprints, which are essentially talent loadouts for housing design. You can import other people's housing layouts if you enjoy them, and the system actually is well thought out, with notifications and a list about potential missing decor in case your collection is incomplete.
Oh, I didn't know that. So they give you a list of the items that you gotta go buy with your Heartsteel. I missed that the last time we talked about this. That's cool. So now you know which items you got to go purchase on the store to be able to get this.
It's actually surprising that they thought of potential system pitfalls before introducing this change. They must have a kick-ass QA team. We are here with a member of the WoW Quality Assurance team. Joe Schmo, sir. I am actually just a player testing the PTR. Sir, I was informed that you are responsible for stress testing the new content, reporting the issues, and providing valuable feedback to the WoW team. That's correct. But you're just a regular player? Also correct. So if you're...
you can't expect Blizzard to have their own quality. It's a small indie dev company, right? That wouldn't make sense. So yeah, you got to help them out, players. Help them out. Be the testers.
Not an actual employee and don't get any incentive from the WoW team. Why are you here in Atalu Tech testing the new Snick content? Because I want the patch to release with 237 reported and unresolved bugs instead of 800,085. Shit. That's correct.
These skits. Class changes. Oh my god.
There are a lot of class changes that have been addressed, the majority of changes being actually very positive. From small reworks like the marksmanship explosive shot and unholy pet mechanics, to actual pain points fixed, such as mages being squishier than an amorphous single-cell organism. We will have videos on each individual spec in the coming weeks, so make sure you hit that like and sub button, because YouTube, you know what's up. A more general change has happened to players' health levels and enemy damage output, both increased by 25%. On paper, this is supposed to be a nerf to healers. Everyone having more HP but also taking more damage means that individual heals will be weaker in comparison to the damage taken.
Oh my god, this is horrible. What? I didn't even notice this. So everyone's going to have 25% more health, but take 25% more damage. Yeah, that's more stress on the healers. What the hell? Aren't healers like already like you can't even find them in the game because healing is so damn difficult? Why would they do this? This makes no sense. What the fuck's up with Blue? They're kicking them while they down. Then they're spitting in their face. And then they're pounding their mom right in front of them too and making them watch. What's going on here? Why is Blizzard hating healers so much lately? They just want nobody to play heals. We just want to be healerless in this game from going forward. Jesus. Healing isn't difficult? I don't know. Why don't you play healer then? There's like 2 of them that play the game right now. Why don't you ask them if it's difficult or not?
But players won't die faster necessarily because they have more health points. Because healer's output will not instantly heal a player to full, the devs don't have to design spiky damage events to make the healers relevant. So in theory, this should be a good change. Together with this, every self-sustain hybrid heal absorb generation from tanks and DPS players has been increased to likely accommodate the new HP and damage intake levels. Another sweeping rework comes for burst damage output. Almost every single DPS spec, some for tanks as well, has had the damage gain nerfed, and to compensate, the baseline power of abilities has been increased. Right. The main idea is to make life outside cooldowns less boring, and cooldowns not be the only time you can actually be relevant as a damage dealer.
Tier sets and gearing, okay.
We also have the data mined tier set aesthetics, graciously provided to us by Wowhead. Link in the description. We won't talk about the bonuses in this video right now, there's too many of them for now, more on that soon, but we'll let these sets play out for you so you can marvel at the aesthetics. And instead,
the drag tier. I mean, why do you even show these? It's so crazy. Blizzard needs to fix this. Literally, the drag tier, they get shoulders and a piece of cloth cock fabric. The entire tier set, epic looking tier set, you get a piece of cloth cock fabric and your little shoulders.
And instead talk about the changes to the Nebulous Void Cores. Void Cores have been the best gearing addition, but also subsequently one of the worst player power progression choices that the devs have made for the game. Let me explain. The fact that you can run 10 to 20 plus 10 dungeons on a fresh new character and be full myth gear not only invalidates mythic rating, the weekly vault, and difficult content, it also makes hero gear, hero crest, and everything below with its associated content pointless, as well as character progression being just generally meh. 12.1 actually addresses that somewhat. We will still have the cores, but with a few changes. First of all, we won't be able to acquire them from the vendor, now moved to Silvermoon next to the Catalyst, until week 8 of Season 2. That is fine, since it makes patch progression actually mean something, and it also kind of mirrors what we've had in Season 1, but also lets alts have a way to catch up without needing 1 month on each to get good gear. Second thing that changes is that raid bosses will only use up 1 core instead of 2.
Yeah, that's a big deal. They've really buffed raid loot so much. Like the fact that you only need 1 core instead of 2 now, so that's even with Mythic Plus. And then you get heroic. Heroic kills give you Mythic Vault gear from raid. That's crazy. That's crazy. Also crazy that rogue set. My God. My God. I mean, you saw some of the other sets playing in the background there. The Priest, absolutely glorious. And then that rogue set rolls through. This is Priest. Look at that. Amazing. Rogue. What the fuck happened? This looks like an open world set. I don't know what's going on here. Somebody, it's their girlfriend or their boy or their ex-husband, you know, loved Rogue, and they decided, I'm going to trash the fuck out of Rogues this season.
Of 2. Third thing, the cores will be available week 1 of the Great Vault as an option to get with tokens of merit if your vault was poop. This is likely the best change since it addresses the RNG nature of the Great Vault. Speaking of the Great Vault, the raid rewards will now mirror the rest of the content, where they will be scaled one tier higher compared to their actual difficulty. As an example, filling your vault with heroic bosses will give you Myth 1 of 6 item rewards instead of hero track items altogether. This needs to be monitored to see how it evolves throughout a season, but it does keep the vault rewards consistent for all the content types. Catalyzing items into tier pieces will now retain their original stats. This can potentially be a good change when it comes to endgame gearing and generally giving players more item options. Sure, the options are just a different pair of secondary stats, but having control over your endgame build without being forced into...
Are they just secondary stats, though? I talked about this because, yeah, special as well as certain special cantrip items. That's the big deal. It's not just secondary stats. It's if you have an item that procs a certain ability and you can convert it to tier set without losing that, that becomes the best in slot version of that tier piece. That's pretty crazy. That changes things.
Bad stats adds a bit more agency over gear crafting, for lack of a better word. This is just the first news that we've had so far with the 12.1 patch, and the content is definitely way higher than what we normally get in a 12.1, and this is just because we know exactly how the patch cadence has been, with 12.15 adding a new raid, the new labyrinth content, new systems as well from the roadmap, so the season is just starting right now, and we have so much more to look forward to. Until then, make sure you check out the winners and losers of Midnight so far in terms of DPS, design, output, and meta appearance, because some of them had some interesting journeys that, unexpected to say the least.
Yeah, nice video overall. A nice little summary there. Some interesting stuff, obviously. We know a lot of this because we've gone through it all. But 12.1 bringing a lot of good features. I think that cantrip item thing's crazy. That's a game changer, honestly. Nice video overall from Marcellian. Good stuff coming in 12.1 for sure.